much fun has this recent string of, somewhat improved play been? Kind of going back to probably, second half of the Air Force game?
It's been pretty fun. We're all sharing the ball. Jordan Caroline was sensational last night, couldn't miss. I told him every time he touched it, just let it go. And it's just been great. I mean, we've been winning and we've been doing it, pretty convincingly, so that's pretty good. It's always great to improve.
You said, I think it was a pink out game, you said we figured something out today. There's a formula that I don't really want to share, and I'm not going to ask you to, but is it more of like on the court things you figured out or off the court?
I think it was more on the court, just a style. I think we were playing, we wanted to play fast and we wanted to play defense, but I didn't think we kind of knew what our style was. And I think we figured it out all the way to 100% degree of what our style is.
That was right. That was the part where I asked, what is your style?
I can say playing inside out, but I think it's more in depth than that. But that's basically what we have to do. We got to trust that we have players that can create plays for other players. Cody does a great job. I think I read somewhere that he has a 3-to-1 turnover ratio, assist-to-turnover ratio, which is great. But I think we have a lot of guys who can play making. I think everybody is showing that part of their game more and more as we progress through the season.
You had that great first half. You struggled a little bit early in the second, and then you pull away in the last half of the second. What do you guys talk to yourself in the locker room about, if you can share that, about going into tomorrow night?
We just got to be locked in on the defensive end. I think we kind of took some steps back last game. And Colorado State's a hard team to play, especially at their place. They have great guards who know how to create shots for themselves and get to the lane. They got hot. But we just have to continue that defense. And we're playing New Mexico, so there's not really too much we have to talk about besides that. That's the team that we lost to. And not only that did we lose to them, we got killed by them. So we already have that in our head. So last game is last game, but we already have enough, I think, for this game.
Will you go into practice the next couple of days and thinking about what happened against Carvacho and saying, okay, this is going to help us against New Mexico?
Definitely, just on a toughness reason, on a rebounding reason, with those two things, because Carvacho is I think he's the #1 rebounder in the country. And so just with that, locking in on that, understanding that, Bragg is a great rebounder, and they have some tough guys who've been in some other places who transferred to New Mexico as well. And so we have to understand that we have to come together. Sometimes we have to double box out players who are just big and strong and athletic, and we have to take that toughness mentality into the New Mexico game.
How much have you been looking forward to the game on Saturday since you last played New Mexico?
Honestly, I didn't know I don't think anybody really knew when the next time we would play them, when they were on the schedule again. But we understood that we had another game against them, and we were just waiting for that opportunity. We couldn't look past any other opponent, which Muss does a great job of preaching every single day. But it's here now, and there's nothing between us and them besides a couple of days now. So we're ready, and I think they'll be ready to play too because they understand how this game goes. So.
You obviously want to learn from every game. Have you guys watched that film a lot, or was it just a situation that everything went so bad that it's not even worth really rehashing to try and get better moving forward?
That was one of our more in-depth film sessions. I could say that, and after that game, we flushed it, and we had to understand that we have to get ready for other teams. But we took a lot from that game because, it's our only loss so far. So yeah, we had to take a lot from that game, not only because of that, but because of how we lost. It wasn't just because we lost; it was how we lost and how we went out. And we don't want to ever have to get that feeling again, or have that taste in our mouth again. So that was some of the reason. But we definitely watched a lot of film on that and understood a lot, and I think we learned a lot from that game as well.
You know what even happened in that game? You guys have been so good the entire season, but just that one night it wasn't there.
It's hard to really say what happened. I think we were just off and they were on. That's the simple way to put it. They had a great crowd. It was just the atmosphere was crazy. I don't want to give excuses. They had a great night, and we didn't have a great night, and a lot could go to their game planning. But like I said, that was last game, and now they're going to game plan for us, and there's going to be a lot of coaching adjustments both ways. But I don't think it's going to come down to that. I think it's going to come down to who wants it more. That's what's going to come down to.
Talk about their crowd, and you got 11,000 people that know exactly what happened last time. So the good start is probably something you guys have already talked about. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. We want to have a great start. Not only that, but we want to out tough people. And you know, people were hitting me up about tickets for that game and stuff like that, and I was trying to focus on other games already. And people, I mean, I know our crowd's gonna be ready for that. That's what I mean when I'm saying that. Our crowd's gonna be ready to go crazy for 40 minutes, and we're gonna need that from them because that's what they've done consistently this season is boost us and help us throughout the season. So definitely getting off to a great start will help us. And not only that, but we got to sustain it. And I think we did a poor job of sustaining our energy at their place.
Do you think the energy at practice is going to be any different these next 2 days?
I don't know if it'll be any different. I think you'll just see a sharper mentality from people. You know, sometimes you got to have fun with the basketball. You got to have fun with basketball as well because it's something that we love to play. And but I don't think there'll be a lot of joking around these next 2 days.
Do you have people asking for tickets for this game, like after that New Mexico game, just because they knew you'd get them back, or when were those requests coming? People
were just asking me. Yeah, it was really after the New Mexico game. Like, you know, I mean, do you think whatever you can give me some? I'm like, man, we got 4, 6, 7. I don't know how many games, but before that game, I don't know what's gonna happen. But people understood that was a big game now. Like, it created so much tension in the air or whatever that people wanted to be a part of it now. So I think it was more of that.
From that game, maybe not so much, you know, what happened in the game, but just the fact that you do have a potential where you guys could lose big if you don't bring it on a given night.
Definitely. I mean, I think we already understood that, but it was more of that we could get popped like that if we don't bring it. And then if we are getting popped, how are we going to react? Like, we've been down in some games and we've come back, but in a situation where we were at their place, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to play like that, and it's dangerous to. And we've already been in situations again where we started off games bad, and so just knowing that, you know, it could be like that. We can't losing is not really a problem, like, but it's how you lose sometimes. And I think it was how we lost. We took that. That was the biggest thing how we took from the New Mexico game.
Was there any discussion last night when you're talking about being popped? Was there any discussion last night early in that second half where you said this might be going on again?
I think it was more of a like. We already weren't playing our best defense in the first half, and then in the second half they came out like smoking hot. So it was a thing where we was just like, we got to lock down. At some point in the game, we got to get 3 stops in a row. And I'm not gonna say we felt like we were in control of that game, but I think we understood that we could be playing better. And we started off hot. Like I said, JC was going crazy from 3 and just doing everything possible. And we understood that we got to zone in. We got to get 3 stops in a row. And then I think we did that at some point in the game, and we were fine. But that's basically what I have to say about that.
Do you think ultimately it was beneficial to take an L at New Mexico when you did and how you did? Do you think it recalibrated you guys at all?
I don't like to lose, so I won't say it was beneficial for us, but because like I said, we were down in other games earlier in the season, so we understood that we're not, you know, Hercules or nothing. We can there's weaknesses and there's things that we can work on, obviously, but I think it was good for us on the standpoint of the stuff we have to work on. We understood as a group now that we have to work on this, and it has to be 100% buy-in for certain aspects of our game. You know, I think we understood where we were weak in some places, but we were getting away with it. And I think it just helped everybody understand, like, guys, we got to take 100% focus when we're working on this stuff in practice. Or we got to take 100% focus, or even 110% focus when we're working on this stuff in practice, because we have to get better in these parts of the game.
Can you work on stuff as players without the coaches involved? Like you say, if you have to work on stuff 110%, can you work on that stuff just as players without the coaches around?
I think we can, and I think we talk about stuff so much as individual, as a group of players. You know, coaches do a great job of bringing us in, but there's sometimes when those guys are talking in their huddle, and we're talking. We're doing the same thing as players in the huddle, and we're understanding what we got to talk about, what we got to see in the aspects of in the middle of a game or after a game. We understand. We talk all the time, and then we got to zone in on those stuffs in practice, and we just talk because there's some stuff that we see that the coaches don't see. There's some stuff that we don't see that the coaches do see. So that's why it's 100% buy-in from everybody.
Defensively, though, how do you think you guys have changed since the last time you saw New Mexico about a month ago?
I guess we'll just, I don't know, I guess we'll just see when the game comes. I think we're doing pretty much the same stuff we've been doing. And I think we're just as intense as we have been all season with defense. We understand that we have to play defense and we have to rebound if we want to be a great team this year. And so I think we'll see when the ball gets tipped up on Saturday.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
just right now.
Which uniforms we're going to wear on Saturday.
What have you thought of the uniforms? Obviously having to break in a bunch of new ones this year.
No, it's been great. I mean, you know, when you go through a quick change like we did, I mean, I think our guys like them and they fit good. So it's all good.
Jordan seemed to like whatever he was wearing last night. I guess that's the second time we've seen him just go crazy like that. How has that three-point improved his game? And if he's hitting threes like that, it doesn't seem like as a defense you can do much to stop it because of his other skill sets.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan just put so much time in as a three-point shooter. And again, I think when you go backwards and think about when he got here, I think he had one of two in his career, his first full year. And now I think in conference, he's shooting close to 50% from three. So just put a lot of work in. Everybody knows he's a great dribble drive, isolation guy. He's a great offensive rebounder. He's got an incredible knack to get his second shot. And then he's, now he's added the three ball where it's not just one a game. It's he can be a guy that makes 3, 4 in a game, and last night 6.
Coach, trying to explain this to the fan and not us that follow the team all the time. When somebody gets hot like Jordan, whether it's Jordan, or whether it's Caleb, or whether it's Cody, or whether it's Tre'Shawn, how does that open up the rest of the team? Because I think that's what the normal fan wants to know is why does everybody else get open if this guy does this or this guy does that?
Well, I think when a guy gets hot, or gets in the zone, it doesn't happen all the time, and no one has a recipe for why it happens. A lot of it's matchups. A lot of it's, Jordan didn't practice Monday because he was sick, and he literally sat on the sideline, and he hardly ever misses. So he was sick Monday and then went out and played as good as I've ever seen him play on Wednesdays with the travel day on Tuesday. So I didn't know how his energy was going to be because he legitimately, the trainer said he's not practicing and he's not suiting up. And normally we have guys suit up even when they're sick and hurt, and he just sat on the sideline in his sweats and came out and played a great game.
He wasn't going to suit up on Wednesday?
No, this was on Monday. The trainer said that. I probably should tell him not to practice today too.
Do you feel like there's more anticipation for this matchup, obviously given the first meeting, or are you guys just trying to stay even keel here?
I mean, I think, look, the season's winding down. We don't have many home games at all. The crowd in numbers has continually been like this. And I think so has the energy level, and so has the enthusiasm. I think with each game, it becomes a little bit more and more loud in our building. And I would suspect that come Saturday afternoon, I'd be shocked if it wasn't the loudest that I've ever heard Lawler.
With that said, will guys be reminded of what happened in Albuquerque?
I think our team plays hard every night. I really do. We're not a team that's like this, up and down, like a yo-yo. We play really, really steady. We played a bad game. New Mexico played a really good game. But we're not a team that fluctuates in our effort level at all. We haven't been in 4 years, and we never will be. Our guys play hard every night. I don't think they played any harder against Cincinnati than they played against South Dakota State. I think we are who we are. We play hard. We're consistent. And that's probably the thing I'm most proud of with our team. So I don't anticipate us playing any harder or any less hard come Saturday or come any night the rest of the year.
We asked Tre'Shawn about having 11,000 fans in the gym on Saturday and how important it is to get that quick start, because that really energizes the fans. Is that something you talk about each and every home game?
No, probably on the flip side. Like we talk about, our whole pregame theme at Colorado State was we knew they were going to have over 1,000 more fans than they're used to. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to go through the story. On the road games, we really feel like it's important to not let their crowd get involved. At home, we think it's important to follow our game plan and play for 40 minutes and somehow figure out times in the game when we can go on scoring spurts to get our crowd involved. But we'd love for our crowd to get involved early in the game prior to tip-off before we even make a shot. That'd be awesome.
I mean, it seemed like the offense was pretty average for a long stretch, and then after that Air Force game, it's just been exceptional. Like, how did it just happen like that, where everything seemed to lock in?
I think a couple things, Chris. I think number one, because we're a veteran team, I think they're sensing what part of the season is. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's almost like baseball and spring training. Guys hit 180, and then all of a sudden they get back to being 280 or 300 hitters. And I think that, like, eventually I knew these numbers were going to even out. Even if we have a bad offensive game Saturday or 2 weeks from now, like, that's going to be an anomaly, because I think right now we're playing offensively like we thought we would from the beginning. And for whatever reason, we got hit with all these zones at one time. Everybody thought that was the formula. And so we tried to figure out exactly what was, because we have two bigs now that we haven't had. And so there was a searching, feeling out process for all of us, our staff included, and we're running zone offense that we never ran before. And so, but based on practice, which no one, you guys can all come whenever you want, but nobody sits through them all, we knew that the shots were going to start falling because of what we see in practice every day. So that's why, when my friends are saying, why are you shooting so many threes? And because I'm watching them in practice and they're making them. And that's kind of why, I knew the lid would come off.
You kind of talked about looking at international teams and how the Mavericks play at zone. Was it kind of fun for you as a coach to have to come up with this new formula because something wasn't working, to go and search for a different way of doing things, and you've always done them before?
I mean, I loved it because it got me out of my comfort zone. And, leadership or coaching is always about how do you find new ways of doing things. And so, yeah, I mean, it gave me a new spark to wake up every day and try to figure this thing out. And we're still not, I mean, we still have a lot of other areas we got to figure out, how we continue to play with a little bit faster pace. And there's a lot of things that I want to keep getting better at. But yeah, I mean, the zone offense was something that you don't see zones in the NBA. And if you do, it's just for a couple possessions, and then somebody bangs 2 threes, and then the team gets out of it. And so for us, or for me as a coach, to face a zone night after night after night, we don't have, we know what we're doing against every man. Whatever you'd want to do against man, we got that. And now the zone was a new piece for all of us.
You ever call Jim Boeheim and say, hey, I don't understand the zone, what's up?
I mean, I understand the zone. It's just when you don't play against it a lot, and when you have new personnel, I think it changes everything. And certainly, some of the stuff we ran last year is not going to work with Jordan Brown and Trey Porter, and even Tre'Shawn Thurman. Just because last year, we played JC at the 5, and he's obviously proven he's a good 3-point shooter, and Kendall played a lot of 4 spot, and he's one of the best in the nation last year shooting. So, of course, our zone offense is going to be a lot different.
And Chris just asked the question, and then I want to follow up, is you look at it and say, okay, I need to change this. I need to change this as a coach to make the players better. How gratifying is that when you see something click like that?
I mean, we made a few tweaks, but more importantly, our guys started making shots. And then Caleb's attacking the rim, and whether it's zone or man, and he's getting more free throws attempted. So it's really nothing we did. It's we got really good players, and they're helping us figure it out. So, and they're making shots. If they start clanking again, then we'll be the dummies again.
Is there a game or a practice that sticks out in your mind right now that you think may have been the turning point that you guys needed, the extra little push?
I thought the bye was good for us, just because we didn't take 2 days off or anything like that. Like, we took our normal day off, and then we got right back in the gym, and I thought that really helped us a lot.
Will your schedule change flipping past Saturday since you have a week off?
No, I mean, we'll take a day off, and it'll be a long week for the guys with a lot of practices, but we got to keep getting better in too many different areas.
Tre'Shawn stopped short of saying it was beneficial to lose a game, but he did say that it was kind of eye-opening to know that you guys could get popped that way. Do you look back on that and say, maybe it was a good thing this happened, and we took that bruise at that point of the year?
I mean, I wish we didn't have a loss. Are there any undefeated teams in college basketball? So, I mean, if there was like 6 or 7, then I'd say, but it happens. And every game's hard. Like Saturday's going to be really hard. All of our home games, we're playing really quality teams, good teams. We got some really hard road games coming up. Like this, we still got 8 games to go, which is half a conference almost. So there's a lot of basketball to be played, and everybody's trying to hit their stride, going into the conference tournament. And so, but I mean, the thing is, like, nobody knows the pressure that our guys are feeling, like on a game by. I mean, it's a lot of pressure every night, and they haven't choked. They've been playing really well. They've gotten over this playing with a number next to your name. That stuff's hard to do. I mean, it's hard, and they've done a really good job of it.
You would think maybe New Mexico beating you would kind of propel them forward, but then they lose 6 of their last 7 games after that point. It seems like they've shown a lot of delta both ways. When they're playing really well, what are they doing really well? And when they're playing really poorly, I guess, what is the difference between great New Mexico and average New Mexico? Because we've seen both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like literally only concerned with us, and I mean, I'm trying to figure out like why we didn't defend better against Colorado State last night and some things like that. So, I mean, I know they beat us on the boards by 10. I know we turned the ball over, not against the press. We had 1 turnover against the press. We turned the ball over uncharacteristically with just lethargic passing. So I think when you add the rebounds that they got us on the glass, and then the fact that we turned the ball over, and our shot selection was not good at all. And but again, I mean, I'll probably watch a lot more tape tonight, but getting back at 2 in the morning, and I watched a little this morning and talked it over with the coaches on things we're going to do in practice, but
you feel like your guys can smell March? I mean, you said kind of, they know what part of the season they're in. Do you see a different sense of urgency? Or
I don't know if a sense of urgency, because our last 2 games we've been bad defensively, but I do think, Chris, that they've, I think when you're around, when you got like 9 to 14 games, that's a hard left in the season. That's like a hard kind of the dog days. And I think now for all of us, like we all know, like we only have 4 more home games. After Saturday, we only have 3 more like we all know now that this thing's coming down towards the end. And I think our fans know it too. And I think that's why we're seeing and hearing the enthusiasm, in our building kind of keep rising.
You mentioned not being happy with defense the last 2 games. Is it hard to marry the two, great offense and great defense? Because if you do play faster on offense, you're probably going to give a little bit more back on defense. I guess, how do you get the best out of both sides of the court? Because it's not easy to do, to be elite on both sides.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with who you're playing. Like Colorado State will run with us, so that's why we're averaging almost 100 points against them, because they like to run with us. Which is awesome, but we're going to have different defensive numbers when teams do that, as opposed to some teams that want to milk the shot clock, and then your defense looks a lot better. So I think there's kind of give and take on both sides, but we didn't guard like we're capable of last night.
I know you always say it's hard to beat a team not only once but twice. Is there a different approach into now some of these games where you are seeing teams for the second time?
I don't think so. I think, you go back, you review, you look at what you did well, look at what you need to improve on. Both coaches are making coaching, moves, so to speak, and then you're going to have to make some adjustments during the game at halftime as well. But, I mean, that's part of conference play all across the board.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.